Hello and welcome to another bag making class. First of all, I'd like to say Happy New Year to you because this is our very first craft video of the year. I trust that this year started beautifully for you and we wish you the very best of the year as we go through the year. All right, so if you're watching us for the first time, I advise that you hit on the subscribe button and on the notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever a new video is uploaded. We just don't do bag making videos, we do other craft videos as well, such as dress making, jewelry making, soap making, and millinery videos. So you'll be getting the whole lot on one channel. So let's get on with a few things we'll be needing for this project. As usual, if you've been watching our videos, you realize that we usually use the craft foam to give our bags stability. All right, so the first material I'm going to talk about is the craft foam. So you need the craft foam, you'd also need your lining fabric, and I'm going to be using this for the lining of my inner bag. And then you need some leather. I'm using the crocodile leather for this. So this is not real leather, it's faux leather, because we'll be stitching on the sewing machine. So using faux leathers is easier to manipulate on the sewing machine than real leather. All right, it comes out perfectly. You would also need some hardware. So this is what I have as my closure for today's bag, and then I also have my D-ring. You can get all of this on Amazon. I'm not too sure about eBay, but I'm sure you can get your hardware for the bags on Amazon. All right, so let's jump right into it and let's get the measurements going. So get your craft foam. For me, the measurement of the foam I'm using is 24 inches long by 12 inches wide. All right, so what I did was to get the A3 size craft foam. So the A3 size is like 2 A4 sizes. Okay, the A3 size craft foam, and cut a little bit here to join it and make it a 24-inch long craft foam. All right, then you cut your leather as well. So but you're going to be cutting your leather at 1 inch bigger than your craft foam. So I'm going to overlap it. I'm going to overlap the foam with the leather so that you see the measurements that I left around my leather. Okay, so 1 inch all around your leather, and then you get your lining. I'm going to bring the lining as well. So this is my lining, and when I overlap it, you see that my lining is about half an inch all around. Okay, half an inch all around the craft foam. Okay, I'm going to set that on the side, and then we talk about the pockets. So I'm going to have 2 pockets for the inside of the bag, and one pocket is bigger than the other. Now this is how we're going to fit them together. We're going to overlap it like this, so we'll have the first pocket and the second pocket for the inside of the bag. So for the measurement of the bigger pocket, that is 6.5 inches by 5 inches. All right, and the smaller overlay back pocket, that is 6.5 inches by 4.5 inches. So these two will come together, and I usually work in inches. So earlier on, if I didn't mention it in inches, it's going to be in inches. So 24 inches as the craft foam by 12 inches. All right, then there is going to be a division in the bag. Okay, so this is going to serve as a division in the bag, or as a partitioning in the bag, and you get to know what I mean by that. So the size of the partitioning is 12 inches by 7.25 inches for the size of the partitioning. Then you cut a fabric that is much bigger than the partitioning. Okay, so make sure your fabric is as big as this. You're going to sandwich your foam in between your fabric like this. So make sure you've cut enough space on the side as your stitch allowance, and that is what we're going to do now. Okay, so I'm going to put my fabric into 2. I have my machine ready now, and I'm going to stitch 2 sides. Okay, here and here at 1/4 of an inch stitch. All right, just on 2 sides. Bring it back, and then we sandwich our craft foam into it and then seal it up. All right, so this is what we have. Okay, I'm going to leave it like this, and when we're about to partition it and the inside of the bag, we'll just run 1 stitch to fix it all up. So I'll put this on the side for now. I'm going to bring my leather back here. All right, and then I'm going to bring my lining as well. So it's going to be right on right, okay? And I'm going to try and stitch it at the end. Now you realize that my leather is much bigger than my fabric, and that is exactly what I want it to be, because in the end, when we finished stitching it and we turn it inside out, I don't want my fabric to be showing at the ends, and I'll show you what that means in a minute. But I'm going to go ahead and stitch top to bottom. Okay, so this is what I did. I stitched it at both sides. Okay, I didn't stitch it at the ends here, just on the sides. You're going to turn it inside out, and then we sort the bottom and the top out. Okay, so I finished stitching it here. This is what I didn't want us to have. So when you stitch it a bit smaller, when you put them together, then you don't have the fabric sticking out on the sides. You're going to have to sandwich our foam now and then take it from there. Okay, so I'm going to fold the leather on top of this one here, okay, and run a stitch on top of it like that. This is what I did at the end. Okay, I'm going to repeat the same thing at this end here. Okay, so this is what we have, top and bottom finished beautifully. Okay, now remember we have this sandwich that is going to create a partition in the middle of the bag here. So when we open it, we'll have this as a sandwich in there. We also need to fix our pocket. So I'm going to stitch the pockets down. Okay, I'm going to join it to each other like this, and then we come and attach it in there, and then carry on with every little bit that is left. It looks really beautiful. I like what I'm seeing, so I'll come back with that. Okay, so this is where I want my pocket to go. I've gone ahead to stitch it together. I'm just going to put some glue together. I should have stitched it before on just the lining before doing everything else, but I had missed that step. So I'm going to use some glue to hold this down. Okay, and I'll be using the Uhu glue, which is a fabric glue as well as works on the leather, so that will be okay, I believe. Let me just mention that you can always stitch your pockets down before you carry on with the process. Okay, but I have gone ahead to carry on with the process without stitching it down, so at this point I'll have to use some glue to hold it down, but is a strong bonding glue, so I don't think I'll have problems with it coming off. Right, I'm just going to wait for it to bind together. To the point where you're going to be fixing the handle for the bag. Okay, so you're going to measure from the edge here towards inside 5.5 inches and put a mark there. Do the same thing on this side as well, and then put a line across it like that. All right, I've used my tailor's chalk to do my markings. I don't know if they're visible on the camera, but I can see what I've done. All right, so you draw your horizontal line, then from the edge here coming in, you're going to be measuring 3.5 inches. All right, and then put another mark here across it like that, and do the same as well coming in. Okay, then you get your leather. I wanted to create a contrast, so I'm using a different color leather with a different texture for the handle, but you can choose to use the same leather if you want. I thought that it was a bit monotonous, and to create some contrast, I think the black one was working for me. So you cut little straps. I've gone ahead to do a few steps with this one, but I'm going to talk to you about what I did over there. So with the little straps, I'm going to be measuring in centimeters, simply because the inches will not help me capture the little bit of extra measurements that needs to be added. Okay, so for all of this place, I'll be working in centimeters. All right, so you're going to cut two tiny strips like I have done, and that is 7 centimeters long and then 1.5 centimeters wide. So you first cut it like this in a rectangular form, Then you put it into two, and then you angle the corners to have this, what I have here. Okay, so to have it looking like that. Now this step is completely optional. You can skip it and not have to angle it and have yours looking squarish like this, but I'm going to show you what difference it makes. Now this is what you get if you don't work on the corners, right? But I think that this is much appealing than that. Okay, so when you've done that, I've gone ahead, like I said, to do a few steps, and this is what I'm going to show you. You put some glue on, so you slide the strap in between your D-ring and put some glue at the ends here, and then stick it together. Okay, I used Uhu glue to do that, but we're going to use some hardware to hold them down properly, like these bits, okay, to hold them down properly. All right, so the next straps we're going to be cutting is 2 of these, and then the measurement is 5 centimeters by 1.5 centimeters. I'm going to set that on the side and get onto the bigger strap. Then you cut another bigger strap, okay, that is going to be 5 centimeters wide by 13.5 centimeters long, and this is what we're going to do. So I'm going to bring these ones back, wrap one small strap on this end like that, bring another one on this end, okay, put some glue to hold it down. All right, then we are going to find the center of this big strap, and then we are going to fold 1/2 towards the center. But before we do that, we would have put this down with some glue and then place this here like that. All right, and then we bring this to the center and this to the center to hold it. So this is how we hope to finish the ends of the bag. Okay, then we put a stitch to it. So I'm going to go ahead and then do them and bring it back for you to see in steps. Okay, so this is it. This is what we have here. As you can see, I had to sandwich the short straps into the longer one, folded it on top of it, and then I ran a stitch on top of it. Okay, so this is what we have. Now I've put in my markings already, like I said, so I know where it's going to be starting from. All right, and you can see I don't want to use anything that will actually stain the leather, so I've made a cross here and across here from the previous measurements I gave. All right, so this is where it's going to start for me and it will end. So I'm going to put some glue here. All right, so whilst we wait for the handle to dry up, let's do the sides. Okay, so you cut for the sides, you're going to cut 3 inches wide by 9.5 inches long. All right, I've gone ahead to do a few steps. I'm going to talk to you about it. So you're going to have it in a rectangle, and then what you do is to put it into 2 so that you can find the center of the strip. Okay, you find the center of the strip, then with the help of an armhole curve, if you have it. If you don't have it, you can just use your free hand to curve it in the corners. You just draw one curve in. All right, then you cut it out and flip it to the other end like this. Okay, and trace it out on this side and cut it as well. So that is what I did with both of them. So this is what we have. Now we are going to join it to the sides. All right, so I set one of these. I'm going to set the other one. Okay, that's the back handle, and this is beautifully done. Okay, I'm going to bring the sides that I cut out. All right, so this is how we're going to attach it. The sides. Okay, use a peg to hold it, and we'll try and see if we can catch a good stitch going all the way around. But before then, I'm going to have to fold, because now I know where it's going to end. So I'm going to have to fold this bit here in and then run a stitch on top of it. All right, so we are nearly there. As you can see, I'll show you later what I've done on the sides so that you can see I've fitted the partitioning as well, but I want us to fit the hardware and then I'll talk you through everything I've done. Okay, so I flipped the bag over just to find out exactly where I wanted to be fitting my closures. All right, and this is why I decided to fit it. If you want me to give you the measurement of where my line ended, that is around 4.02. okay, so a little below the 4 inches mark, 2 lines down is where I drew my line straight up. All right, and then on this line I found the length of the line. Okay, and I think it was easier finding it in centimeters, so I did it, and that was around 31 centimeters. So half of that 31, that would be 15.5 centimeters, and then I put a mark there so you can see that I've done a cross here, and that is where I'm going to be attaching my closure. All right, so I have the male and the female, and there's another thing I've also done as a kind of design. Okay, it's just an attachment to break the monotony of the leather. So let's go ahead and fit in this one. I'm going to try and make a hole here, so my fitting should come below the line. All right, so I'm going to try and figure out where my point is, and then we go in and cut it. You gotta be sure you are in the center and it's straight, because we don't want it to be crooked. Okay, so I fitted it. That's one part done. I'm going to bring this over and I fit the top bit here. Okay, so hopefully we'll be able to get some light and in and finish what we're doing. All right, so the next thing is to fit the male part of the bag. Okay, but I want us to have this here. All right, so that we can have it as a kind of a design, or to sort of break the monotony of the leather. That's the main thing of it. I think it also adds some beauty to it, and then it complements the strap up here. Okay, so I'm going to push this into the groove, try and position it and make sure that everything is intact, and then press it down. The only thing you do with this bit is you just press it down. It's got some teeth in there, so it will just grip on good bits, and that's it. Okay, so this is what we have. Now I'm going to show you what I did on the side. So I had stitched it all the way around. Okay, and then I brought the partition. As you can see, I pushed the partition into like this groove. So I just pinched it with my fingers, and then I pushed the partition in there and then stitched it on, not to the very end. You can see like a third of it. I'm nearly there to the finished end. Okay, it's just to hold it in place. So I did it for both sides, as you can see, and that is it. Now let's get our tablet and pack a few things in there just to see how it all went. Okay, so I'm going to put my tablet in there. That went in beautifully, and then I'll put my diary as well. Okay, and this is what we have. All right, I really like what I'm seeing. So we've come to the end of today's project. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. Don't forget to share it as well. This keeps us going, and it keeps us knowing that we always have people waiting on us to see our next video. I'll continue to introduce Podcast with Sheila to you, which is another channel of mine. On this channel, we share positive, inspiring life experiences, and it's been a blessing to a lot of people. I keep hearing inspiring and positive responses from others about what they think sharing of the stories is doing in their lives. I think you should go and have a look, and then if you like it, subscribe to that channel as well, and don't forget to share and help us spread the positive message. Until we meet.